Okay, welcome back, everybody. We're still talking Career Mojo. I'm Sam Brown, and I have with me Mr. Brian Sykes, and we're going to focus on the head domain now for this Career Mojo implementation system. And really, keys to building an effective career is definitely including in your mindset and how you're approaching things. And that's what this section is all about. Brian, talk a little bit about why these elements are so important to developing really the proper mindset to building an effective career.
Well, we talked about the heart, the passion, intentionality, and then moving into the hand, literally what you put your hands to do, the power. So now you have to have something to sustain the both of them. So this head is about integrating all of them and creating systems. So the systems and this particular, from our perspective of Career Mojo, we're talking about something that's regenerative. And so explains why the head, the heart, the hand, and the head are all integrated as one unique unit. And although we're showing it in a circle, it very easily can reflect a spiral
Mm.
because that's the regenerative factor of it. You start with the heart, then you go to the hand, and you go back to the head, and then you go back to the heart again, and then the hand, and then the head, and it continually operates in that evolving fashion. So the first cornerstone of this is all about starting with why. Know why you're doing what you're doing and what you want those results to do. So this is a net value perspective, as I like to call it. And I'm always looking at things for myself personally from the perspective, how does what I do create greater life for all? So in other words, it's this higher purpose, is bigger than myself. It grounds me. It connects me to myself. It connects me to those who I'm interacting with. That's a pretty powerful why. Because if you don't start with why, what you tend to have is compliance without commitment,
Mm.
which means that you only tolerate things. And then when things get too tough, it's too easy to check out because there was no strong why factor there. So you have
Right.
to start with why. Then the next key is all about, well, how do I take these wonderful focus points and raise the bar? This is the exact antithesis of complacency, where I hear a lot of people say, hey, I have 20 years of experience, so I'm just kind of kicking back, I'm waiting for retirement. Well, those days are gone.
Mhm.
So the idea of staying in the marketplace means you always have to be evolving. You need to be a person that actually can take initiative. So this raising the bar is a building block of transformation and expansion beyond where you are. And so if you're looking from this perspective here, you're always looking to evolve. You're a lifelong learner. You're unfolding as you go, which goes along with the next point there with soar with your strengths. This is all about creating, if you will, that flow and that momentum. And you're doing so based on your unique talents and strengths. So these things that are natural to you. That's why it's a strength. The basic principle behind it is find out what you do well, do more of it. Find out what you don't do well, do less of it. You'll maximize your day, you'll maximize engagement, you'll maximize being deliberate if you can operate and cooperate with your core strengths as opposed to things that are not strengths, which are also AKA weaknesses. Then last, we have trust your instinct. This one is really huge for so many people because your instinct literally is that voice in your head. And what this is about is learning how to work with those signposts, if you will, of future possibilities. And they're always all around. But for most people, they'll ignore them, which means that although the puzzle pieces are quite clear, they'll never engage on how to put them together so that the picture becomes even more clear on where they're going. And these signposts will show up sometimes as hunches, urges, as sometimes seemingly insignificant coincidences, is what Carl Jung calls synchronicity. So things start lining up. And here's the science behind that. The brain loves to record, or it does anyway, unconsciously records these patterns that surrounds us. And oftentimes when we're engaged in different things, because the first order of business for the brain is really about conservation and preservation, those patterns will emerge. It's called chunking. And this is how we learn. We learn little bits, pieces at a time so we can put the whole piece of the puzzle together. The instinct is always this kind of inner resourcefulness that's uniquely aligned with your uniqueness and who you are. So when we ignore that, we're ignoring significant information that we can use to build momentum towards where we want to go.
Yeah, and that's a really important point there too, that I think a lot of people maybe not forget, but maybe just not pay as much attention to, because instinct is something that every single person has, but your degree with how you use it may vary a little bit. But just like your physical muscles can be exercised and increased, so can trusting your instinct and listening, because your environment and your environment is always talking to you in ways that are not necessarily overt. And the same thing with your body. And the more you listen and begin to trust that, the more information you'll receive. And what you'll find is that it is infallibly accurate to staying to yourself and leading you in the right direction. So it's
Exactly.
that's a very powerful one right there, Brian.
Yeah, and then people will pay more attention to the script as opposed to the true instinct.
Sure. Yeah.
And there's a unique difference between the two.
Awesome. Well, certainly a lot more where this came from, but we'll cut this video short. Brian, thanks for your time.
Thank you.